What's going on, you guys? I'm back to talk about young fella, very talented young guy by the name of, you know him, I know him, Johnny Bones Jones. Some say John Joe. Excuse me. One second. McDonald's. Alrighty. Well, I wanna touch upon some interesting things that I feel about this guy, his talent, the level he's on. I feel he's on. Uh, his character, his overall personality, and where I see him going over the next couple of years here. Excuse me. Well, I wanna just take a dip back. Go back to the Matt Hamill fight here. The John Jones versus Matt Hamill. Now in this fight, I learned a lot of things about John Jones. Some interesting things. I learned that his stand up wasn't all that great. Um, even though he absolutely destroyed Matt Hamill on the ground, I feel when they were standing up, Matt Hamill was doing fairly well. He was working his jab, and for the most part, I thought he was out striking John Jones. And John Jones, of course, he has a lot of tricks and a lot of spinning elbows and great stuff like that. But you don't necessarily say that's a great stand up. That's just a lot of elusive stuff that he does. Now, John Jones does have great skill, but I just want to jump off the hype train for a second, and I want to say the things that he needs to work on in order to be a champion and stay a champion, and not obviously be a paper champion. Like Forrest Griffin. They hype you up. No disrespect to Forrest Griffin, he's a good fighter, but he's nowhere near one of the best fighters in the world. I just don't give a damn if he beat Rampage or who the hell he beats. Forrest Griffin he's just Forrest Griffin. He's a lovable guy, and he can fight, and that's about it. But now if he wants to get that belt and he wants to keep that belt, what he needs to do is he needs to work on his striking. Because right now his striking is not, it's not where it needs to be in order to be fighting guys like Machida. Now, my thing is, if I saw John Jones fighting a Machida, I'd automatically pick Machida. Even though Machida is not the champ anymore and he lost to Shogun, it doesn't make him any less than a fighter. He got caught. He was doing really well against Shogun before he got caught. Even though Shogun is one of my favorite fighters, I have to tell it like it is. But John Jones, if he were to fight a Machida, I'd honestly think he'd lose because, first and foremost, Machida, his his takedown defense is just too good. Okay, and his striking is better than John Jones, if you ask me. That's how I feel about it. And he's elusive himself. He's very elusive, and he has some good ground skills. He has submitted people in the past. And let's go back to the Brandon Vera fight for a second. In the Brandon Vera fight, John Jones let me know a lot of things about him. When he's on the ground, he leaves himself way too exposed for submission. There was a couple of times there that it looked like Brandon Vera could have caught him in an armbar before he got hit by that big ass elbow. And it shows a lot of things about John Jones that he needs to work. He needs to work on his stand up. Oh yeah, he's elusive. He has a lot of tricks. He got that spinning elbow. He got a lot of throws, great throws. Yeah, it's very exciting, and it's working against guys who are really not that athletic. I wouldn't say Stephen Bonner is that athletic. I wouldn't say Matt Hamill is that athletic. Now Brandon Vera, that was impressive. He beat Brandon Vera, but on the feet, what would I say? Who would win a fight between John Jones and Brandon Vera on the feet? I have to go with Brandon Vera all day. Even though this is MMA, you have to mix things up. And, I just want to see a guy be strong in all areas. I don't want to see a GSP here. A guy who may be strong in all areas, but is too afraid to fight. It's something about that Greg Jackson camp, man. They just want to make wrestlers, or either they just want to, they want to make a guy, just a one-dimensional fighter. It's just something about that camp. I don't know, man. I love that camp, and a lot of people say they're the best, and they very well may be the best camp, but it's just something about them and their game plans that kind of annoy me. It's just kind of boring game plans, and but John Jones is nowhere near a boring fighter, and that's really good, but he needs to work on a lot of things before he fights for the belt. Could he fight for the belt? Of course. Could he win? Of course. But can he keep the belt? I don't think so, because right now his striking is not up to par with the best of them, and I think he needs to work on that. He's still really young. He's very talented. He has a lot more to go, and I think one day I think we will see John Jones as the champ. But right now, I don't feel he's ready. He needs to work on a couple of things. He needs to work on his his submission skills. Even though he has submitted a guy before, but he needs to work on that some more. He needs to work on his striking. And I think after John Jones does that, John Jones will he pretty much be unbeatable, But nobody's unbeatable, You know what I mean. But I think he would pretty much be, I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna take a hell of a lot to beat this guy, if he gets his striking. Just imagine if John Jones his striking was on a level with Anderson Silva. Can you imagine anybody beating this guy? Come on. But this video is gonna go into part two. Um, so hopefully you guys tune in for the part two. And part two is going to be talking about his personality and what I think and how he's portraying himself. Hopefully you guys tune in for it. Yeah. Nah, man. Look at his arm. Nah, man, that arm not gonna get. And how he's training, so. He's obviously great fighter, a lot of potential, and I think he is one of the best, but in time he could be the best. So, chicken nugget, the ball is running low and oh, she like my doggy. So, what is it that you think?